Hi, everybody. This is day 1,495 days since Richard was premeditatedly murdered there on Fort Bliss, on the Fort Bliss footprint. And this is after he was continuously and severely retaliated against in order to silence him, not because he did anything wrong, because he's a hero, because he was doing everything right, reporting criminal trafficking going on, and the fraud going there in the community, in the borderland community. And do we have that confirmed? Yes. Do we have the place of death confirmed? Yes. The place of death confirmed is Fort Bliss. We still do not have his remains. Therefore, he was murdered on Fort Bliss. He was murdered on Fort Bliss, and we have word that they used, they planned it out, and that they used chemicals that would decompose biological material. Can you believe that I have to say this kind of stuff? But this is, we've been made the investigators of our son's case, and since our agencies, since our government institutions that we pay trillions of dollars for, I mean, we're what, $37 trillion in debt. We pay all this money, millions, billions, trillions, and we end up having to be the investigators for our son's case because our system has been weaponized and I'm not saying everybody, but by enough people, it has been weaponized that the trust has been broken. The trust has been broken. So when people want to give leads and information, they come to us. And of course, because they know that we are the lead investigators. And so we've gotten word that, we should look into the incinerators at the time, also the uh, chemicals used, the acids used for decomposing biological material. Um, so absolutely, this is a premeditated capital murder case. I went over that slightly yesterday. Let me see if I'm on here now. There are no statutes of limitations in Richard's case in a premeditated murder case. Um, so we're carefully going through all of the evidence and gathering more information for the accountability. We're absolutely in the accountability stage, and we are submitting letters and emails, complaints, evidence at every chance that we possibly can. Um, just in the last 4 days, it's been more than a dozen. And so we've been getting a lot of feedback from that information. And there's just so much that we want to share with you because of what's going on at the district attorney's office there in El Paso, the 34th Judicial District Attorney's Office. Bill Hicks is a usurper in that office. He's a trespasser. He is not legitimate. There seems to be like this um, I think a scam way of these criminals that intercept or infiltrate our system. Like Bill Hicks, he's a criminal that has infiltrated our system and usurped the district attorney's office there in El Paso, that has botched cases, of course, obstruct justice in our son's case, and it's very serious. Um, what we are hearing is that office essentially is just shut down. There are complaints coming out of um, law enforcement that, nothing can get done. They can't get answers and things like that. Now, if you're there in El Paso and you have a case going through that office, please let me know if you're hearing the same thing. Um, so this is really serious when the criminal justice system is, broken down, and it's botched and it's broken down. And so Bill Hicks, we also have gotten word that he has really, get this, quote, relinquished his authority. No, he never had authority. He's illegitimate. He's a usurper. He's a trespasser. He had to go and hide. He had to go and run for the hills. I hope. We're hearing that he had to go get out of Dodge. Stay at his house, whatever. Um, that it's very serious there. So I hope that that's true. And we also have a lawyer from the Walmart case that has now confessed. We have a confession from a lawyer in the Walmart case, which is, thank you, Anicia, for coming on. And this is big news, because the Walmart case is an absolute disaster. They cannot run and hide from what they've done in the Walmart case, because we're at over 5 years, right? And so they can't cover that up. And anyway, more is to come. But in that confession, this lawyer throws Bill Hicks under the bus, really throws him, like it's kind of like Leilani Hart and her crisis of lies confession, the second confession. It's not like the notarized FBI accepted confession, and I'll tell you why. And this is, our opinion. But there's a difference when you have a family member that is a CID agent, like Tavita Nusa, and she had admitted in, in communications that we have, in documents that we have, that Tavita Nusa, her family member that she was giving sexual favors to. So, that's very important, because the whole sex cult thing is so relevant in this case, because Richard was reporting on the violations that was going on, which involved the sex cult, right? This pornography, the child pornography, the videotaping, the exploiting minors, and all of that, the incest, all this stuff. Now, I don't know if he was reporting on the incest. They're not giving us a report. So that tells you something, right? That tells you something. That's evidence right there when they don't give you the information. The attempt to hide is attempting to hide very serious violations of the law. And, that they were having sexual relations between Leilani Hart and Tavita Nusa is a violation of the Fatner, whatever, that they're both married. They can't fraternize. The fraternization, they can't do that. And, so even that is a violation. So the first confession is pretty organized, because she admitted that he was coaching her. He was helping her say the right things and all of that. And there seems to be a pattern of that, because in other documents that we have, there is allegations that James Hart at the VA, Pueblo, the Veterans Disabilities, has also coached veterans the same way. And, so here Tavita Nusa was coaching her and, of course, got the notarized confession referred to the FBI and accepted by the FBI. And so it is, you know, pretty damning of her family, that's for sure. So many crimes in that, but it is organized in how it's presented. Whereas this latest confession is I can tell you that we don't believe that Tavita Nusa coached her in writing this latest confession. It is a crisis of lies. It's just her trying to frame narratives that are just so absurd, and very, very obviously proven to be lies, to be false. The timeline and everything is wrong with the lies, but it still has information in it, and we're very grateful for that information. And we have turned it in. We have turned it in with our analysis of to multiple agencies and institutions, to with our analysis, and our uh, evidence, to prove our analysis, in a pretty organized way, to uh, report the obvious obvious involvement in our son's murder. Okay. Um, so, there is no doubt, even though there has been uh, a huge attempt by a criminal group, rogue group from the original response team, which includes Dallas Hart. Dallas Hart was one of the very first to create um, this group, right? Uh, and has skills in all of the uh, online creating accounts and all of that stuff. And can't forget about Jonathan Ambrose with his cyber technology talents. Um, so, they're absolutely, um, they are definitely involved in Richard's case, in Richard's murder case. And I want to also tell you that um, the information coming out between Ruggiero and Hema Sochitil, who is Michael Ruggiero's wife. And Michael Ruggiero, if you didn't know this, was Richard's first sergeant, is very connected to Leilani Hart and Dallas Hart and James Hart. They're very connected. Now that, okay, so you got Tavita Nusa in the CID connected to them and their involvement, where they should absolutely be looking for Richard's remains. They should have absolutely met with us when we were there. They should have absolutely rallied for Richard. But that wasn't the case. They attacked Richard. They smeared Richard. They framed false narratives. All this was false narratives and lies, and an organized attempt to cover up the murder of Richard. And now that we have I can only imagine how they reacted to the Board of Inquiry's declaration of death. They probably were just like screaming like fingernails on a chalkboard, because, with you do not need remains to prosecute a capital murder case. See, and they know this because they're in law enforcement. You don't need that. You need all the evidence, and we have years of evidence, of their reactions, their unwillingness to talk to us, their collusion, their collaboration, and it goes on, their harassment, their threats, their tampering with the Interpol picture. That is a big one. That is a big one because, and they have it up they've been they use it, um, falsely, because our forensics does not show what they claim. Our forensics absolutely shows that they use Dallas Hart's picture, in a composite image, um, to mislead facial recognition, in our opinion, with the Interpol. They are messing with the Interpol. They messed with the Interpol. The Interpol ended up removing that picture, because they absolutely agreed with us that it was a tampered picture, that the facial recognition does not match Richard's. And so if he went through any kind of port of entry, which we know that Richard was never missing, right? We know he was never missing. It was all a psyop. It was all an attempt to, you know, gain time. Gain time. The more time you have in a murder case, more difficult it is to figure everything out. So this was absolutely a way to misdirect and to gain time, and to lie, absolutely lie to Interpol. Which, can you imagine Interpol? They the CID, the FBI have lost respect from the Interpol, time and time again, because of these stunts. And and that's why there needs to be a prosecution, right? That's why there needs to be an accountability to restore trust. If we let them get away with this, feeding false information to Interpol, it really hurts us as our credibility as a country. And of course, the interference in investigations. So clearly, we have years of their interference in investigations, and this confession by the Walmart attorney that threw Bill Hicks under the bus, like Leilani Hart, is now, caught with the past interference in the Walmart case. So they, and more is coming out with that. Okay, I just wanted to give you good news that we're getting more and more information that's coming in, and this is very, very serious, that a lawyer in the Walmart case is confessing and throwing Bill Hicks under the bus when Bill Hicks is in crisis mode. So Bill Hicks is in crisis mode. We heard that Bob Moore of El Paso Matters is I think he got removed from El Paso Matters. And I hope that they removed Angela Kachurga, because she doesn't care about Hispanics. She doesn't care about the border. She does not care about El Paso. She does not care about soldiers. She does not care about Gold Star families. She does not care about the increasing crime and the lack of the justice system in El Paso. So I talked to her on the phone. I know what her concerns were. Her concerns were the exposing of their criminal network. That's what her concern was. And it was just shocking. It was really shocking. The level, people just cannot even believe it. The way this criminal network works, and they work off of lies. Their fuel is lies. That's all it is. It's just lies after lies after lies. And the media fuels with those lies. That's their fuel. The lies and lies and lies, and remaking of, just framing narratives that are false. And it is just, once you see it, it's so shocking, because, they get favors from our governments. 501c3s. They a lot of these get government funding. Um, this lawyer, well, let's just talk about Michael Ruggiero. He wants to stay in the system. He wants to milk the government without having any esprit de corps. My dad pointed that out. He has no love for the country. This is all about milking the system, not in service, but milking it. And, so he's still there on Fort Bliss. He is in a security job. He is a THAAD instructor. He poses a risk to our nation because, the THAAD missile is our defense against missile attacks. They are the interceptors. And he has no, if he is going to sell out to this rogue group, um, and participate in what happened to Richard, who is he selling out to? Right? Who else is he going to sell out to? What secrets would he sell out to? He cannot be trusted in any kind of security job at all. At all. And we see that with like Jules Chan. He cannot be trusted at all. And, he was bragging about being part of the emergency intake center, which, is a total failure. And not even that, total evil, because of the level of abuse the children suffered going through that. And these are unaccompanied. That just, when you think about that, as a mother, as a Gigi, as a mother of adopted children, though, what we cared about most is that we could offer a home and be parents to children that were unaccompanied, that didn't have anybody, that, to love them, to wipe their tears away, to teach them in the way they should go, to be, intolerant of sexual assault of children, right? To report it immediately, not like Leilani Hart and let it happen and happen and happen and, fail to timely report a 7-year-old being sexually assaulted in her master bedroom by multiple members of her household. Not to be like, can you imagine the failure to report that? Why doesn't she talk about that more? I mean, she's the one that confessed it, but why doesn't she talk about that more? Because she had heart child care. Why did she change her name again? Why is she hiding her face? Why is she hiding her face? This is, there is so much evidence there, wherever you look, with her involvement with the CID Tavita Nuces, the reports, official reports of concern by El Pasoans saying that Leilani Hart claims that she's running the CID office on Fort Bliss. And we know from reports and others and our own words and our own confession, the weaponization of our institutions like the Fort Bliss CID office. And we know that Marlon Soto is dirty. We know that Tavita Nusa is dirty. We know that Richard wanted to be a CID. We know he was communicating with them. He was inquiring how to do that. They knew Richard, okay? They knew him. And of course, he was reporting on the lawlessness, thinking that they, had this sense of duty like he did to report on the crimes committed against children. And, the children are, from infant all the way to 17 years old in this case. And, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. And I was telling that at the beginning, when they were smearing Richard and trying to make excuses for not looking for him. It's, Jay Paul, and oh, we don't really look for our soldiers that just or go missing. We don't really look for our soldiers that go missing, that don't show up. Really? That's a lie. That was a lie, and we knew it was a lie. And then it came out, because they were making excuses for not contacting us, for not looking for Richard, because they already see, Richard was never missing. Richard was always murdered. They knew it. They knew it. And so, this was a huge cover up and a huge smear campaign. And when they were trying to frame a false narrative around who Richard was, with the media's help, I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you making excuses? Why aren't you, he just turned 21. Look, you got the migrants there that are minors, that are children. You have Richard just turned 21. He can rally through his whole life, right? Why are you throwing him under the bus? Why are you doing this? Of course, then it came out that he was a whistleblower. Of course, he came out that he was reporting against them. And then it all made sense. And then they became suspects in the murder and disappearance of Richard. And there's no statute of limitations in a premeditated capital murder case. There's no statute of limitations. So, they're gnashing their teeth because they're facing not finding Richard's remains. They're facing the lethal injection. They're facing, and maybe I shouldn't say this, but there was this conversation. Maybe I shouldn't say this, but there was this conversation on what is death penalty. Is that, how do they do that? Do they put you in a moat with alligators? How do they do that? Do they, there, I'm not even gonna go into it. You can understand. In Texas, it's a lethal injection, and they're facing that. They're facing that, and at this point, I say good. I say good. Because we just heard from Senator Josh Hawley. We just heard from others. It's all over the news right now. And then we just heard from President Trump at the border that these children, 325,000, some people go over 400,000. Since 2018. And I've been bashed because there's like, well, that emergency intake center, that huge one, didn't, start until 2021. And I'm like, it's been going on for a long time. And they're saying since 2018. And I'm like, where's the Mormon congregation in this? Where are they? Because there's a common denominator here. And it is the Mormon congregation. Where's the leadership? The Mormon leadership? Do they not care about children? Do they not care about what's going on at the border? there is a huge common denominator with this, and it's called the Mormon congregation. And wow, wow, and there's more. But this is starting to affect Mexico also. And the Mexican leadership is sick and tired of the way, from my understanding from the readings, is that they're not too happy with the way the politics is going from the American side, which, I don't blame them one bit. And so it seems like the Mexican president is realigning everything, just uh, and, especially the judges there, which is really shaking things up. There's a big shakeup going on in Mexico in the government. And so I think we need to keep our eyes on that, and we need to keep our eyes on El Paso. It's really important, especially with the criminal justice system being just shattered in pieces right now, because of the chief medical examiner also being illegal, also not being qualified. And then you have Bill Hicks like running for the hills, running undercover wherever he's at. And one of the examples, is this latest case where I believe her last name is Roderick, Elizabeth Roderick. Um, I think so. Well, her brother, and I'm doing this from memory, so please correct me if I'm wrong, but her brother was shot in the back like 4 times, and they got the guy that did it, and they end up that he just got 5 years in prison or something like this. That, no, you don't shoot someone in the back. So she's calling out Bill Hicks on this, and but he's run for the hills. I mean, it's a bot. I think we need to contact her. The he's a usurper. I think she has more to stand on than maybe she knows. And we'd love to share the information with her. If you have time, share it with her too. I think we can use all the help we can get, and I think the people of El Paso can use all the help they can get when they don't even have a DA's office going on right now. I mean, my goodness. So I can't even imagine if my brother got shot in the back 4 times, and they had the perpetrator, and they arrested the perpetrator, and they gave him 5 years in prison or something. Yeah. So that really needs to be addressed by that office. That we've done our best to notify every law school in the United States that we could possibly notify and contact, that the 34th Judicial District Attorney under Bill Hicks, District under Bill Hicks, that he's a usurper, that he's illegitimate, that he's a trespasser, um, that he has conflicts of interest, that no way should any law student be coaxed by him to come and participate in his illegal administration. So that that's something really important. There's some other things that we need to notify some businesses and some politicians and everything about what's going on in El Paso. And this is positive news. Please don't get down. Um, I think this kind of corruption, this network has been going on for a long time, and now it's being exposed. And my Oma used to say, if you're going to clean out the closet, you need to bring it all out, um, and get rid of the junk, right? Get rid of what's causing the problem. And so we have to expose this in order to address it. And in order to get qualified individuals in those positions so that we can um, expose Richard's case, because it's all there, so that we can get his remains and um, clarify the files and history. All of that needs to be known to the public, exposed to the public what really happened to our son, and to get his remains, and to get accountability for the perpetrators that participated in the retaliation, the murder, the cover up, the smear campaign. Um, Absolutely, absolutely, and um, that is absolutely our gain and our goal and our intent. The other uh, thing that, yeah, I have a note here to me saying that why would the Interpol, going back to the Interpol picture that is of a composite of Dallas Hart, that connects Lilani again, that connects James Hart again, um, and this group with Tavita Nusa again, with Jules Tugadon Chan, with Jonathan Ambrose, with, um, and of course the Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia on the Bliss Avenue with Danae Katzen with KTSM. And then, of course, we have this confession that not only throws Bill Hicks under the bus, but also Bob Moore again, and Justin Underwood again, right? Totally Justin Underwood. Um, and when I watch Justin Underwood's commercials, I'm just like, oh my gosh, what a liar. He's such a liar. Okay, he is such a liar. Um, and I guess liar is not the right word. It is like this false, image that he's trying to portray. And what we know, he's so criminal, and he's trying to say that he just loves America or something. And well, he has a very bad way of showing it. If he does, he has a bad way of showing it. So, but the picture that they use in the Interpol, when you use a composite, it's called a signature crime. They like to leave their mark. So some of these people are just psychopaths. They just like to leave their mark. But the big information is that we've had to address to the authorities is that image that they used of Richard in the composite was illegally taken, a snapshot of a computer, a government computer, um, that had confidential information in the background. So you're taking, I'm taking a picture of a screen of a government computer. That's illegal. That's a felony. Okay? You can't do that. That's a felony. And so, we've really had to address that. So there's just so much that we, are going through and addressing everything and turning in everything. And that's really what we found out is giving us results. And at the very beginning, we were almost disheartened. We would like turn things in, and we would, was you're turning it into corrupt agencies and institutions, and you're like, oh, it'll never happen. It'll never get done. And then we changed our whole attitude, and we said, we don't care. We don't care if Christopher Wray is corrupt, which you saw that with this whole assassination attempt on President Trump. Uh, his testimony in Congress, Christopher Wray, who is the director of the FBI, he's corrupt, right? You see that with our Department of Justice, Department of State, when we turned into the Department of Justice for oversight for El Paso for the FBI, and they turned us down at the very beginning. You're so disheartened, and and I want to say something super positive right now. That is just their mode of operation to continue to cover up the crime. So you can't fall for that. And so we realized that. We thought, okay, we are just going to keep on giving them all of the complaints that we have and the evidence that we have and the questions that we have, and we knew the answers to the questions, before we give it to them. You have to operate kind of like a lawyer. You can't ask a question unless you know the answer to it. So, you just keep on flooding the institutions, because some of those people, a lot of those people, don't even know what's going on. Don't even know what's going on. So you just have to reach out, reach out, reach out. And then, the Bible says the nagging of the widow even makes the unjust judge give justice. So you just have to have faith that you're going to reach someone in there that's going to drive them to have to give you justice. And one of those huge victories in that, and it was very short-lived, was the declaration of death. And what do I mean by that? Because right after that, we couldn't even grieve our son, think about what we were going to do with this information, where we're going to do this memorial that, they're reaching out to us for memorials and everything. What are we going to do? How, legally, how are we going to address this? Are we going to continue the live streams? How are we going to do this? What's the best way? And Bob Moore answered that for us, because he didn't give us a minute. And, maybe that's a little exaggeration, but let's just say for talking, he didn't even give us a minute. He went out and targeted us again, targeted our son again, and posted a false story about the death of our son. And then had FitFam El Paso LLC post it, and have KTSM post it. And we were in, like 24-hour mode, contacting these people saying, this is false information. You cannot put this out to the public. Can we not even, grieve a day for our son without being targeted? Without our son being targeted? Without the smear campaign continuing? So it answered our questions on what we needed to do to go forward, why we needed to go forward, if we needed to go forward. And it was absolutely yes, that these criminals will not stop. They will not stop until we hold them accountable. And they get worse and worse and worse. And now we have even confessions coming out that throw Leilani Hart and the lawyer from the Walmart case, throwing Bob Moore under the bus. And now he seems to have lost his position at El Paso Matters. And throwing Bill Hicks under the bus, who seems to be, pulling off a basement thing like other politicians. He's a usurper. And Justin Underwood, throwing Justin Underwood. Justin Underwood is a huge criminal, and he's important to understand because he was ad litem to the Walmart case. Look that up. I had to look it up. I've been getting like a partial, like a paralegal degree out of this. He was ad litem. You can't have an ad litem in the Walmart case when he has a client from the Walmart case. And who is that client? So that's totally illegal. And who was his client? Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia. And it was widely reported. You know, she is not the wife. And this is in German news, and I speak German, and I've been reading the German news. And the German is like, calling her the widow. And I'm like, but she's not the widow. She's not the widow because she wasn't even married to Alexander Hoffman, one of the victims from the Walmart mass shooting. And I didn't say it. It's widely reported that she was not married to Alexander Hoffman because they got divorced in 2001. They got divorced in 2001. She wanted her cake and eat it too. She wanted to cash in, are the allegations. The allegations is she wanted to cash in. Now, that's not me. That is reported. I'm just telling you what the report said. She was making out like she was the widow when she was not the widow. And that was widely reported. And, how despicable. And Justin Underwood was, ad litem to the Walmart? It's just one conflict of interest after the other. And why is this important to Richard's case? Because, and everybody's going to find this out. It's, when you have criminal trafficking, it's a lot of money, and they're all about making the money. And, so they really wanted to keep the Walmart case from being prosecuted. And that was Loretta Lynn Hewitt that said that. And they wanted, of course, Richard's case not to be investigated or prosecuted. No help from there. And so they had to take Yvonne Rosales down. That's, lots of work, lots of hours of work to figure all that out with a lot of open records. And of course, all the circumstantial evidence on top of the hard evidence with all the irregularities. And so I can honestly tell you on a live stream when free speech is being so attacked. But I can tell you we have the receipts for all of that. For those allegations, for those suppositions, we have the receipts for them. And, the receipts of truth. The receipts of truth. So, the Walmart mass shooting case is absolutely connected to Richard's case, absolutely connected to Bob Moore and Bill Hicks and Justin Underwood and Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia and, others. And of course, Leilani Hart and James Hart and Dallas Hart and Tavita Nusa and the rogue criminal group from the original response team and the security community, the rogue group from the security community that, seems absolutely knows and worked with and connects Ruggiero once again with Bradford Bugado in the G3 of the 32nd ADCOM. Of course, him being a first sergeant, he knew, but this is an additional connection between them. And, Bradford Bugado of the G3, he's absolutely, he was up to no good. He was up to no good. And with his father-in-law, Tavid Nadal Baim, and all those connections with Western Frontier Trading LLC, and with all those connections with other LLCs, with individuals in this case. Um, you know, this case is breaking. Richard's case is breaking. And we are just going to keep putting all the pieces together for the system, for our agencies, for our government institutions. We're going to keep putting it together for them. And, we received the information because of all of the um, notifications that we have given with evidence and all of that, that Bill Hicks, his situation, but also that Senator Hawley and others and President Trump going to the border and talking about the 325,000 unaccompanied minors that are unaccounted for, that were used in trafficking, was used in child labor, was used in and not child labor like, help me on the farm and stuff like that. Some people go really crazy with this whole child labor thing. No, we're talking about really illegal child labor, because they're unaccompanied, right? They're unaccompanied, they're unaccountable, you know, and of course the sex cult industry, the child pornography, the um, I guess going online, and I've heard some other reports, but what President Trump was saying is that most of them are dead. And when he said that, that's from him. That's not from me. And he said most of them are dead. And you're talking 325,000 in 3 years. And most of them are dead, and a huge portion of that came through El Paso. Fort Bliss came through Fort Bliss. We're getting word now that that was said largely, not all, but largely because of the work that Team Find Richard Halliday has done in reporting all of this, and to so many, so many. And I don't know if that's true. I was told, don't even doubt it. It's absolutely true. What we have accomplished as Team Find Richard Halliday, uh, we need to be aware that it doesn't always come out the way you would think that it needs to come out. Um, and so, just be prepared. Keep your eye on El Paso. Keep your eye on this whole thing with the immigration. It's a huge subject for this election cycle. And please keep on sharing this information, because we are living in just amazing times. The clearing out of a very dirty closet. And as an American, as a patriot, as a person that truly loves our country, truly loves, um, of course, the El Paso area. That's was home for me. Um, you know, uh, I'm very happy to see that this is being exposed, because I don't want anyone else to have to go through what we've gone through. And look at this new lady, Elizabeth Roderick, what she's had to go through with her brother, not getting justice for her brother, the death of her brother, the murder of her brother. Um, so we really have to um, not be tolerant of this kind of criminal network where they're breaking all of our laws and also frauding the El Paso taxpayers, trying to do cash grabs on the taxpayers. Um, defrauding our government with the guise of a security agency. We're so secure, and yet they will hire the likes of Michael Ruggiero. I'm sorry. He does not deserve any kind of security job with lying to the FBI. That was in the CID, lying to the FBI, not trustworthy. And of course, what I know from him, from my dad, what he was hearing from Richard and their long discussions about NCOs and the guide on and being the guide on bearer, and um, Michael Ruggiero, the first sergeant, not having any esprit de corps, and what that meant for the unit, what that meant for security for our country. And so that was definitely a lesson that my dad gave me before he passed away. And I'll be forever grateful. Another lesson that he gave me, lots of lessons he gave me. Um, so absolutely, a security company needs to be a security company, and they need to vet who works for them. And so that is something else that we're working on right now. Because Hema Sochel, from the known as Hema Saboteur, absolutely, along with Serena Arona, these, because that was also a senior NCO's wife. Absolutely, it was so weird. I've been a daughter and a wife of military. I've been told how to behave for the security of our country, for the well oiled machine of our military. And here comes Hema Sochil and Serena Arona, and you're just like, what? Leaking information, having unauthorized access, having to deal with Marlon Soto, knowing that Marlon Soto absolutely knew what was going on because of his reactions. You had to be there. Um, yeah, we have the receipts, we have the evidence, we have it on record, and we need to absolutely not tolerate those that will betray our country. Otherwise, we won't have a country. So, thank you so much. We will be back tomorrow, God willing. Thank you, and please share. Bye bye.